Negro likes harp music. No, to hell with it. They're all the same. And in fact, the reality is, I challenge any Christian to tell me the name of one prophet from the Bible who came from Europe. Take your time. Take your time. All the prophets of the Bible came from Africa and Asia. Jesus Christ looks more like Osama bin Laden than he does George Bush. Let's be honest. Jesus Christ, my friend, look at it. You Jews claim Jesus was a Jew. Christians say Jesus was a Christian. Muslims say Jesus was a Muslim. Jesus was not a Jew. Jesus was not a Christian. Jesus was not a Muslim. Jesus Christ, by all the evidence, was Jamaican. How do we know Jesus Christ was black and Jamaican? Because he was a doctor. He was a qualified carpenter. He made bread. He was a baker. And he was still fucking unemployed. He had to be Jamaican. Look at it. Jesus called all his followers brother. Jesus walked across water. I've walked across water too when being chased by the police. It's nothing. Jesus took a loaf of bread and fed 1,000 people. My mother's been doing that all her fucking life. Any poor person knows how to make one loaf of bread, feed 1,000 people. My brothers and sisters, we may laugh, and we should laugh. We should be jovial about our existence. Hands up if you are Jewish. Don't be afraid, I'll protect you from these Muslims. Don't be afraid of them. Hands up if you are Muslim. Don't be afraid, I'll protect you from these Jews. Dangerous people. Hands up if you're Christian. Don't be afraid, I'll protect you from yourselves. Whether you are Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, you all worship the same God. Jews recognize Adam and Eve. Christians recognize Adam and Eve. Muslims recognize Adam and Eve. Jews acknowledge Moses. Christians acknowledge Moses. Muslims acknowledge Moses. Jews recognize Abraham. Christians recognize Abraham. Muslims recognize Abraham. Whether you are Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, you all worship the same God. So why the hell are you killing one another in the name of religion and any other foolish nonsense? We are all the same people, but they keep us fighting amongst ourselves, feuding amongst ourselves. The conflict between Palestine and Israel is not Jews versus Muslims. It is one people who have taken the land from another people. It's not about religion, it's about land. Land. And I am dismayed that we call ourselves civilized. That we put ourselves at the top of the food chain. We call ourselves civilized, yet we cannot even sit down with each other and discuss and debate and arbitrate man's problems. Why can't we do this? Because we're looking at it from a humanistic perspective rather than an animalistic perspective. Human beings are animals, like no other, just like every other animal. We are territorial, like all other animals. We fight over land, for space, for our tribes, for our clans. And I say this because very often I'm confronted by racism. Very often I'm confronted by Europeans telling me, why are you here in our country? If you don't like it, why don't you go back home? Let me say this. As a black man, I was happy at home in Africa, minding my own business, swinging from tree to tree, speaking the Ooga Booga language. And white people came to Africa and they promised me a world cruise. And we signed up for this world cruise and ended up in Europe and the Western Hemisphere for 400 years. You Europeans went to Africa. You Europeans brought us here. And now all of a sudden, now that we're free, you say, why don't you go back home? Here's my response to you. I am 40 years old. You Europeans spent 400 years in Africa. Me and my children have 360 years left in this fucking country. If you don't like it, fuck off. Look around you. We have sent our advanced guard to colonize this country the way you colonized us. Look at Edgware Road, Little Lebanon. You go to Queensway, Little Saudi Arabia. You go to Brixton, Little Jamaica. You go to Seven Sisters, Little Ghana. You go to Southall, Little India. We are expanding. Look around you. We have you fucking surrounded. You had best learn our language quickly if you want to survive in this country. My friends, there's nothing wrong with it. There's beauty in difference. Look around us. Look how beautiful we are as people, as human beings. But when we start to find the differences amongst us, we begin to become brutal, animalistic. My friend, where are you from? Where are your parents from? Sorry? Palestinian. Where are you from, sir? Spain. Where are you from, sir? London. Black man, London. No problem. Brother, no, you have the right to claim that as your identity. Where are you from, sir? Where are you people from? South Africa. Sir. You, sir. Sorry? Middlesex. He says with an Indian accent. I'm from Middlesex. And you have that right to claim that. Where are you from, sir? You, sir? Philadelphia. Where are you from, sir?
Mexico.
Mexico. Where are you from?
South Africa.
South Africa. A white man. I'm from South Africa. This is the beauty of what it is. Why don't we celebrate difference?
There are the Austrians. Austrians. Yeah. Austria.
Austria. Okay, you too can join the club. Please. Look at the world's conflicts that are taking place today. Look at the wars in Afghanistan, the war in Pakistan, the bombings of Yemen, of Somalia, perpetrated by the United States of America, backed up by its allies, what it calls the international community. Are you from America? You are. It's not your fault. Sir, what do you think of the notion of the international community? Do you think it works? It's a good idea. Sound like Gandhi, you do? It's a good idea, the international community. But I ask this question. Why did the American government, the Western governments, take away the power from the United Nations and begin to arbitrate power for themselves, by themselves? Because when we talk about the international community demands that Gaddafi does this. The international community demands that Assad does that. The international community demands that Pakistan does this. When you talk about the international community, let's be honest, the international community is a white Western boys club. When you talk about the international community, you are not talking about my brothers in Jamaica, my sisters in Nigeria, my brothers in Pakistan, my sisters in Yemen. You are talking about, when you use the term the international community, you are talking about America, Britain, Spain, France, Germany, Canada, New Zealand, Australia. You are referring to the white Western nations, because formerly what we had was Western nations roam around the world colonizing and pillaging nations for themselves. The British said the sun would never set, could never set on the British Empire. They controlled 1/3 of the globe. The Spanish went and colonized. The Portuguese went and colonized. The Americans went and colonized. And the French. But now what we have, all these former imperialist colonialists have formed a little club where they now go around the world raping, pillaging, murdering poorer, weaker nations, and then they share the loot, the booty out amongst themselves. It's corrupt, it's wicked, it's vile. I am worried about Africa now. I am terrified about what's going to take place in Africa. The American government has its military camp in Africa under the guise of AFRICOM, colonizing black people, colonizing African states, colonizing non-white nations. Let me ask anyone this question, and I'll start with you, sir. Why do we have Western forces in Afghanistan? I guess it's because of 9/11. What happened on 9/11? You were attacked by who? Afghanistan? No. So if you weren't attacked by Afghanistan, why are you in Afghanistan? Well, not you personally, my friend. We're aware of that. I haven't been smoking this morning. We're aware of that. Why are you, when I refer to you being Americans, why are you there in Afghanistan? And Western allies too. Because Osama bin Laden had friends there. Is that a good enough reason to invade a country? Osama bin Laden, you say, is dead. Osama bin Laden, as you claim, and he was never charged with attacking, charged with 9/11. I'm asking you this. That was over 11 years ago. Why are American forces, Western forces, still in Afghanistan? Why are Western forces bombing Pakistan? Why are American forces bombing Yemen? Why are American forces bombing Somalia? My friend, to drop a bomb on a sovereign state is a declaration of war. Is America at war declared with Somalia? With Yemen? With Pakistan? Sorry, sir? The problem with Afghanistan is that the Taliban are still there. Don't the Taliban have the right to exist, to be there? Sorry? They don't have the right to send terrorists. What evidence do you have that they're sending terrorists around the world?
I just want to encourage you today.
What evidence do you have?
Able to understand.
Imagine, he wants to take you to God.
Wrong with
do you believe if God was so smart, God was so intelligent, God was all-knowing, God is all-powerful, if God is all of these things, why would God choose an idiot to speak in his behalf?
But the end is death and destruction.
This is what they do. These Christians come down, they talk about brotherly love, they talk about sharing, they talk about forgiveness, yet I speak here every Sunday. I've spoken on this platform for 26 years. These motherfuckers know this. Now they could take their platform and speak down there, but oh no. These clowns want to stand up right here, and it's in black and white, it must be true.
His son.
It's a nonsense. With all of the world's problems, with all that's happening to us as a people, they want to talk to you about shit that happened 2,000 years ago. So, sir, I address your question.
Would reject him.
You say that America went to Afghanistan because of the Taliban.
In anything you
say. Do you believe that the war in Afghanistan is a just war?
I think we've been there too long, and I think a lot of American policies in the past created Osama bin Laden in the first place.
A lot of American policies created bin Laden in the first place. And if a lot of American policies created bin Laden in the first place, what security do we have that American policy today is not recruiting, training more bin Ladens for the future? Because let's look at the wars that's taking place in Libya. Let's look at the aggression against Iran. Let's look at what's going on in Syria. Don't you believe that some disgruntled person somewhere is going to be frustrated and angry with Western foreign policy? Maybe not today, but they are grooming the same anger, the same frustration that created bin Laden in the first place.
Well, I agree that force is not going to solve the problem. I totally agree with that.
Force is not going to solve the problem. So shouldn't we devise systems? Shouldn't we push our politicians to find solutions to world problems? Because I'm sure that you as an American do not want to grow your children to grow up living in fear, living in panic that someone's going to attack them, someone's going to blow them up. But likewise, the same fear and paranoia that you have as Americans, that you have as Westerners, the same fear that you have is the same fear that Pakistani parents have about for their children. The same fears you have as an American is the same fears that Somalian people have for their children. The same fears that Yemenis have for their children. The same fears that Afghans have for their people. Why can't we devise systems? Why do we have to live in this maniacal world? Because let's be honest, these politicians, whether they're American or otherwise, they are not acting in our interests. They are acting in the interest of corporations, in the interest of greed, in the interest of capital, in the interest of commerce, in the interest of profit. That's who they act for. The American war machine is a business. When they drop bombs on the people, you think someone isn't making money? There are people making money from making bombs. There are people making money from making arms. And every bomb dropped on Afghanistan is a profit for somewhere, for someone. It's a sin. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. But what we have not done, or what you in the West have failed to do, is you have failed to look at the equation from the Arab, from the Muslim perspective. How is it? The Americans go to Afghanistan. The Americans invade Iraq. And when they invade Iraq, they tell Iran, stay out of this. They tell Muslims, stay out of this. They tell other neighboring Arab nations, stay out of this. Could you imagine the nonsense? Could you imagine if an Arab nation invaded Canada on the border of America and said to you Americans, stay out of this. It's got nothing to do with you. It's the heights of arrogance. It is the heights. Look at what we have in America now. We have a black president.
We are all the same.
Which just goes to show it doesn't matter who is in the White House. Barack Obama is just as wicked, if not more so, than George W. Bush.
We are born in
Barack Obama, in fact, is more dangerous than George W. Bush. Barack Obama has proven himself to be a more evil devil than George W. Bush. Barack Obama, how?
You must be born
Sir,
again.
Barack Obama is responsible. He takes personal responsibility for signing off every drone attack.
You must be born.
Barack Obama has authorized bombing raids in Somalia. Are you aware of how? What bombing raids? Wow. No. He is being honest. Sir, you are being honest. He's saying what bombing raids? Because he's unaware that American drones are dropping bombs on Somalia, Yemen, Pakistan and Afghanistan every day. Are you aware that thousands of Pakistanis have been killed as citizens, civilians have been killed as a result of drone attacks? Are you aware that hundreds of Somali civilians have been killed? Oh, they're not missiles. Oh, they're not bombs, they're missiles. That is absolutely beautiful. My friend, no sir, that's the notion you have. Sir, when we say bombing, sir, if we say bombing, then we can say NATO didn't bomb Libya, they missiled Libya. My friend, sir, what are you smoking and where can I buy some? There's nothing, sir, there's no difference between a bomb or a missile. Sir, I'm explaining. Sir. Okay. So of course he could be in the army. That's very well.
Are you his spokesman?
That's very well. No. Of course, sir, you were in the army. You served in the army, British Army?
I will give myself for the
1984 was a long time ago, but great. So, one thing we do here, this is the beautiful thing about Speaker's Corner. More importantly, Hyde Park, and more importantly, Britain. Because we are free in this country to have these types of debates. And I say this, it is better to be black and non-white living in Britain than it is to be black or non-white living in Spain, France, Italy, Germany, or other parts of Europe. Other parts of Europe. Wow. Now he says it's better to be black in this country than to be black in Africa. Have you lived in Africa? Whereabouts? And I've lived in Sierra Leone. Okay, sir. Fantastic, 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 fantastic. So likewise, I've lived across Africa. So tell me, sir, why do you say, why do you say, as a white man, why do you say it is better to be black in Britain than in Africa? Hold on, because let's frame the question. Let's frame the question. Because I'm saying to you, as you are a non-black person, how can you speak up on behalf of black people and say it is better here? What did you see? What did you see? You saw them treated like shit. So, sir, so as a black man living in Britain, if I walk down the underground and see poor white people sleeping on the streets, if I see white people protesting about spending cuts in this country, if I see students rioting and turning over police cars, I can then say, oh, these white people would be better off in Africa. They probably would be.
I agree with the point you're making.
The point I'm making, sir.
As a white person in this country,
the point I'm making, sir, is it is subjective. The sad reality about Africa is, whenever Africa is reported about in the Western media, the only thing we ever see about Africa is famine, war, disease, pestilence, and there's much more to Africa than that. Africa is a continent of 55 states. If we use Libya, for example, Libya had the fastest growing GDP in Africa at 10.6%. People drove brand new cars. People had free healthcare, free education, free hospitals, free social housing. That was Libya. I was in Libya last year during the war. My friend, so when we talk about Africa, let's put it into perspective. Because if you are the ruling elite or the black middle class in Africa, in fact, Africa's quite good. In fact, what you have are the African middle classes and the Caribbean middle classes arriving in Britain with great education, doctors, lawyers, great qualifications. Yet they become cleaners and everything else in this country. The highest educated, sir. It is a statistical fact. Oh, sir. Let me make this fact. It is a statistical fact that the highest educated immigrant group to Britain are Nigerians. Okay, oh, see, hold on, listen to it. She says, yeah, right. She just can't believe it, can she? You can't believe it, can you? So you laugh at it. I didn't create these statistics. Go to your home office. I did not create these statistics. Madam, these statistics, hold on. She says because they bribe people. Can you hear the vile stereotypes? Yeah. So I suppose they bribe the home office.
Shut up and finish. Brokeback Mountain!
Sir,
places in Nigeria.
he says they bribe.
Take your holy trousers to the dry cleaner.
Sir, I don't dispute that people bribe people in Nigeria. I don't dispute that this. Sir, allow me. You're talking about Nigeria. Sir. I do not dispute that in Africa they bribe people. Hold on, sir. Sir, I'm making a point. Hold on, sir. Hold up. Via Nigeria. Can you hear your vile? Hold up.
He's very popular.
Now he says, oh, because there weren't that many immigrants. How did immigrants arrive in this country? Why did immigrants arrive in this country? They were brought to this country after the Second World War. We begged them. Yes, you did. You begged my parents to come in. Look behind you. Look at this Asian behind you. How did he arrive? arrive here? How did he arrive here? How did my parents arrive here? Please do so.
You know, I can say what's on the outside.
Right. Yes, you personally. Yes, you personally. Hello. Of course. Let me repeat what he says. He says his parents were promised a lot of money.
Never happened.
If you believe in God,
My friend, sir.
Come home and work. There's enough money to go back home and live.
Now hold on, sir.
They're still here.
Sir, let's address this. It's ignorance.
Stop someone.
Do you see what you're offering? Sir, this is your opportunity to educate.
No reason to stop you here for £10. And he told me Nigeria, £20 here, £10.
Sir, I don't know this man, but I can tell you that my experience from my parents, my father came over and worked in a factory in this country. My mother came over and did nursing. When I look at this man, I don't need to know him. I know how his parents ended up here. When I look at this man, I know how his parents ended up in this country. We were invited to this country because there was a depletion of labor in this country post the Second World War. She wouldn't know that, so educate your daughter. That's how we arrived here. We arrived here. That's how we arrived here. You need the education. Look at you. Look at you.
You see the racism. You see the racism.
You went to Africa as what? Doing aid work? What did you do? Working in a farm? What did you do? I've heard the ignorance of your father. No offense, man. Your father says Nigerians are this. Your father says, oh, Africans are like that. I can come and say Europeans are like this and Europeans are like that. You don't even know that we were invited here. You asked us to come here. You begged us to come here. Madam. Let's go on another argument. Let me ask you this. You have the British economy. You have, hold on, sir. Hold up. You have the British economy. What is the British economy balanced upon? What do you produce for the world? Gold? Diamonds? Uranium? Titanium? What do you produce? In Africa, madam, hold on. Okay. Sorry? Okay, madam, let me say this. Okay, we black people and non-white people are going to go back to Africa tomorrow. Hold on, madam. You said Britain. You talk about Britain. Let's say we non-white people were to leave Britain today. We're going to go back to Africa, go back to Asia, go back to the Middle East. If we go back, hold on, sir. If we go back to Africa, let us say we take with us our resources, our gold, diamonds, uranium, titanium, copper, oil, copper, iron, lead, silver, rice, coffee, cocoa, tea. Tell me, what do you have in Europe? What do you have? Fish and chips? What do you have? You need us here. You best beg me to stay here. If I go back furthermore, you'll be walking around naked because your clothes are made in China. Your clothes are made in China. You need us. Oh, are you saying you need niggas? Yes, you need us. You need niggas in this country. You need us. You need us during the war to breed with your women. The Belgians. That's why we're here.
The Belgians.
Is that how you educate your daughter to use the word niggas? Because it has to come from somewhere. Where did you get it? My friend, no, let's focus on your daughter for one moment. No offense. She uses the term nigger.
So
of course.
Now you want to focus on my 15-year-old
no, sir. No, I'm not focusing on your daughter. I'm focusing on your education of your daughter. I have 5 children. I have 5 children. I make sure, I've educated my children to make sure that they judge everyone equally and fairly, irrespective of their race, irrespective of their religion. So when I hear a 15-year-old girl using the word nigger in the presence of her father, I'm a child, and for me it's not worth it.
No offense.
It's no effect. It has no effect on me, sir. It has absolutely no effect on me. I see her for who she is, but I'm more concerned with you because you seem like a rational, logical human being. And I'm concerned if she grows up with that sort of mentality. Niggers, imagine. Niggers. You should be grateful. You're in our country now. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Costa del Sol.
Go somewhere else.
Costa del Sol.
Land, man, like the Australians say.
Go to Africa.
We can bury you in a heartbeat.
Bury you in a heartbeat, and well, you know it.
Of course, sir. He could bury us in a heartbeat. I don't think so, sir.
You've been stealing.
We're back.
Sir, let's get back to
It's not your
Hold
country.
up, please. Hold up. Let's get back to reason.
Right, yeah, of course. I don't know what your premise is or my premise is. All we're doing is shouting at each other.
Of course.
But the point you made about the gold and the copper and the titanium and all of this, the only reason, if you think about the Belgians, right, who had an appalling record in the Congo.
The Belgians had an appalling record in the Congo.
Yeah,
the Belgians killed 10 million black Africans in the Congo.
The Belgians had an appalling record in the Congo.
The Belgians had an appalling record. But mention nothing about the British.
Now, the Belgians extracted rubber from the Congo. Right?
Yes.
Now, that rubber has a value. But it didn't have a value to the Africans because they never used it.
It didn't have a value to the Africans.
The only reason these resources are valuable to Africa is because we, or the developed countries, make them so.
He says the
They
only
make
reason
value.
why these resources have a value to Africans is because Europeans made it so. Sir, one of the oldest empires in the world. We go to the Songhai Empire. We go to the Mali Empire of Timbuktu. The oldest known university was in Timbuktu. Now what are you talking to me about now? We didn't know about the resources. The oldest, madam, the oldest iron ore mine in the world was on the fringe of South Africa, which is 25,000 years old, 23,000 years BC, before Caucasians. Now how can you tell me that we have done this?
Hang on a second, yeah. All those minerals, all the diamonds, all those raw minerals that have been stolen from the reason they've been untouched by the greatest cultivators of our existence, i.e. Africans, the reason they're untouched is because they're there for a purpose. You lot have come over there, you've extracted and taken. Don't you think that's going to have an impact on our ecology? Do you think that the problems we're having in this society right now are not due to the fact that the raw minerals have been stolen from their rightful place? And the job that they have to do with
Stop talking logic. We're in an illogical argument here.
Nicely put, but I don't see the connection.
Sir,
when you said the problems in this society are down to the extraction of raw.
This is a man that spent years in Africa. He spent years in Africa, yet his daughter uses the term like nigger. His daughter says she spent time in Africa, but still uses the term like nigger. Imagine. Can you see how big a struggle we have? Nigger, don't touch her. It's bizarre.
She's better than everyone.
Of course, sir, may I ask you this? Because I think it's a very serious point, and it's a very sensitive point because it is your daughter who's only 15. Hold on, my brother, please. My brother, please. My brother, if you continue disrupting this meeting, I will bring immigration with me next week. Where did you buy it from? A Nigerian?
I have a question.
No, I have a question. Because I think it's very important. It's a serious point. And one thing, remember, we're only debating, and one of the beautiful things about Hyde Park is we can come here with our open opinions and ideas. One thing I will say to you about this, Nick Griffin, the head of the BNP, I believe that Nick Griffin has been given a raw deal. Because I believe, because Nick Griffin received 1 million votes. And Nick Griffin means that Nick Griffin represents a percentage of the population in this country who have a right to express their point of view. Now, if I were white, born in this country, born in a poor working class neighborhood, whereby I saw an influx of immigrants coming to this country, whereby I then began to threat for my children's jobs or homes, I too might think, boy, there are so many immigrants in this country, they're taking away our jobs. But it is the wrong forum, it is the wrong platform to gear up racial hatred against the people. We should be able to have these open discussions about the problem. I don't believe politicians do this. I believe the Labour Party and the Conservative Party gang up on organisations like the BNP, yet they have a worse history than the BNP.
Hey, finish your bread, you.
Please stop talking. And please stop talking.
BNP foreigner.
And he's an ally. He's a great friend of mine. But hold on, sir. I find it quite curious as to how you could live in Africa for so many years as you claim. Your daughter says she's been to Africa and lived in Africa. Yet she uses used the term like nigger. Please explain.
No, it's just to piss you off.
No, it's not pissing me off.
Yes, it is.
Why would it piss me off?
Because look at your state.
No, madam, what do you mean? She says by using the term nigger, I'm pissed off. Madam,
He's not pissed off.
I broke the bone in my hand 2 weeks ago by having a fight with a racist in this park.
Yeah.
I hear nigger. I hear nigger.
Racist.
I hear
You're
nigger.
the devil's racist.
I hear nigger all the time. It's water off a duck's back to me, madam. Nigger. I've been attacked by so many times by white people. Madam, your nigger is nothing. Nothing. Absolutely. Madam, sir.
I'm 51 years old, and I've never known anybody I know, like who's, I don't know what you call white British, who's ever attacked anybody because of their colour. I've never known anybody who's done that.
So therefore, I broke the bone in my hand. I broke the bone in my hand by myself, and I'm on bail until the 4th of July. It's a fantasy. I'm on bail at the moment.
You, but what I'm saying is my experience of the people.
You've never, your experience. His experience again. His experience. The white experience is that it could not happen. It can't happen to black people. It doesn't happen to black people.
Your standpoint.
Now she says I'm racist again.
Your standpoint seems
It's
to be
beautiful. That's why I was charged. That's why I was charged when I was attacked by 2 white people. That's why my first charge, hold on sir, my first charge in a criminal court in the United Kingdom as a juvenile was when I was 17 years old, when I was attacked by 20 skinheads in Carnaby Street. I picked up a stick defending myself, and I was on charge for using a stick as an offensive weapon. I was on charge. Yet he says, oh no, what? It just doesn't happen. They will never understand the black experience. What is your experience as a black person? What is your experience as a black man? What is your experience as a black man?
Okay.
What is your experience? Can you imagine the scope of these people? Can you imagine? In his experience, it doesn't happen. Because you're not black, my friend. You're not black. Look at football. Hold on, sir. One point. In football, we have the European Cup recently, whereby Sol Campbell said black people shouldn't go. We saw video footage of non-white people being beaten up in the aisles. Yet the UEFA bosses said, oh, it's not a problem, it's not a problem. They are always in denial. Could you imagine white footballers going to Africa? Imagine, white people are nervous when they see 3 black men standing on a corner. Could you imagine going to Africa where there's a stadium full of 20,000 black people like that, shouting honky, white man, and they're saying, oh, it doesn't affect your performance. It's so belittling. It's so ridiculous. It's nonsense.
It's ludicrous to deny that's going on.
But sir, I totally respect you.
That has nothing to do with what's going on in this country.
Sir, I respect you, and the reason why I respect you is because you are honest with your point of view and an opinion, and you have the right to express that, and we should be debating these issues. We come from 2 different positions, yet it's only from dialogue, debate, and
how can we come from 2 different positions, but I don't know what your position is?
You say that when I talk to you about black racism in this country, oh, from your perspective it doesn't happen. It's not happening that white people attack black people. So we come from 2 different positions, because only 2 weeks ago I was attacked in this park.
You think I don't know any black people? You think I don't?
You think I don't know any black people? My friend, I'm not racist either. My best friend's next door neighbor's dog's owner's white.
No, nothing to do with that. But the guys I know, they've never ever explained to me anything like this.
So racism doesn't exist in this country?
No, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but then again you've got to define what's racism.
What's racism?
Listen. If you're driving down the street in your car with the window open,
because so it's not wasting time. It's not wasting time. It's having, sir. There's nothing more beautiful than having this open discussion. We have case references.
Listen, if you're driving through London, right, you've got the window open on your car. Don't know if you drive a car. Right?
If I'm driving through London with my window open,
drive a car with the window open, and somebody looking like me, as in of a light pallor, shouts to you through the window, or as you're driving along, black man. Would you call that a racist comment?
Yeah. No, it depends on the way.
He says yes, you say no.
It depends on the way it was construed.
Yeah. Because in Ethiopia, when I drive through Addis Ababa with my window down, all I get is people shouting at me, Ferenc. That's all I hear.
White man.
Yeah.
Sir, I said to you, if someone called me a black man, if someone called me a black man, I refer to myself as a black man. Sir, if you had last week, I've been speaking this part for 26 years.
Black guys would get upset.
I will tell you this, and your point is next. Your point is next. I will tell you this. I have spoken like last week. I've said, what you find is, I have found from my experience that many black people born in this country, grown up in this country, now I see reverse racism. I see a lot of Eastern Europeans, whites coming to this country, and I hear the most vile statements coming from black people. saying, oh, look at these Eastern Europeans, they're coming in, they're taking our jobs. They're taking, and the same position. So I recognize, really, if we break it down, it's not even about the race, it's about the threat that we have to our own livelihoods. If you are differences, of course. Or difference, of course.
2 days ago.
That's why it's important.
2 days ago, the guy that came to do the border in my apartment came round, right? 28 years old. Tall guy, nice chap. Told me he wasn't married, told me he was of Pakistani heritage, told me he was of Pakistani heritage. This was 2 days ago. His father was born here 60 years ago. So he's one of the first immigrants. And this guy stood in my kitchen for 15 minutes going on about the fucking immigrants coming in our fucking country. This guy's of Pakistani heritage. So it's nothing to do with colour. This is the point. It's about difference.
Differences.
Some people like difference, and some people don't like difference.
Differences. So let's look at these differences. Let's look at immigrants in this country. Let's look at the statement of nigger. We come from such diverse backgrounds, such differences, my friend. How do you break it down? How do we stop these differences if your daughter is using terms like nigger? And you didn't even correct it. You said you didn't even address it. Of course. Okay. Now he says, he says, now good point. No, hold on. He comes with a very good point. He says you're printing millions upon millions of records with the niggers on it. Now hold on, sir. It's a very, very good point, Madame. Hold on. Let's deal. Madame, hold on. Let's deal with it. Please. Hold on, sir.
It's not an accident why everything in popular culture at the moment to do with black people, it's not an accident why it's all gun-toting, gangsters. Let me finish. It's not an accident why the only thing that's out there is gun-toting that bad image, yeah? Or you get these hood rats out in the States. These things are constructed by mass media companies, by white people in offices.
Mass media.
And no, but hang on, let me finish my point. You said, hang on, you said that we're out there printing our own stuff saying nigger. No, we're not. And it's not in that context. It's not an accident why the only thing of anything to do with black people like that is the media. Go ahead.
Madame, he raises a very, very good point.
He does.
Hold on.
But
He said, Madame, we're not going to get anywhere by talking over it. He raises a very, very good point. He says, how is it when your people, and he says me, you're publishing music, millions upon millions of music, using the word nigger anyway. It's a very...
actually use the word they.
Oh, they. Okay. But it's a very, very valid point. Hold on, madam. Let's look at the use of the word nigger and how some black people have reappropriated the use of the word nigger, taken ownership of the word, and then reflected back upon themselves. Now, in America, that's where the culture of the word nigger has risen around the world. You've got black people, ignorant people, young people running around talking about, yo, my nigger this, my nigger that. Now, they don't just say nigger. That's the least of my worries. The biggest fear for me is that as if they're calling black people niggers, they're seeing me as a nigger, meaning I'm also a target. What we have is the issue of self-hatred, whereby these black people hate themselves because of the way they have been conditioned throughout society. So what we have is not just the term, hold on, sir, hold up, madam. It's not just the term nigger. We also have, whereby we have black people talking about, I've been shot 9 times. Look at how they talk about black women, bitches and hoes. They refer to their own mothers, own black women as bitches and hoes. Now my point of view is this. We now have hip-hop music is now pop music. It is popular culture. It is by no accident that these musicians who are making that type of negative, self-destructive music are getting the airplay on radio. It is by no accident. You will not find any white musician. You will not find one white musician, even Eminem, who goes to the far extreme of his lyrics. You will not even find white musicians never talking about, hold on, madam. You will not find white musicians talking about, I just shot a honky. I've been shot 9 times. You honky bitches and hoes. The music industry would never support it. The commercial radio stations and TV stations would never expose any white person talking about with their women as bitches and hoes or killing a honky. It just doesn't happen. Can you tell me any white musician you have ever heard in your life whereby they refer to their women as bitches and hoes? Hold up and talk about killing a honky. You can tell me one? None. But that's what we've asked, sir. Can you tell me one, sir? I know you're pointing out. We're just
the culture of what if you're going to go into colour and you're going to discuss that certain colours are doing this.
Sir, you are not talking about the culture. You are talking, sir. You are talking about how something has been appropriated and mass.
I don't see colour.